Simple Tales presents The Palace Beneath the River, a Bengali folk tale. Have you ever wondered whether the greatest treasures are hidden beneath the earth or within the choices we make? Many dream of discovering secret kingdoms filled with gold and jewels. Yet the old storytellers of Bengal believed that true wealth reveals itself only to those whose hearts remain honest when temptation opens its hands. This is the story of the palace beneath the river. Long ago, beside the broad waters of the Ganges, there lived a poor fisherman named Nabin. Every morning before sunrise, he pushed his small wooden boat into the mist. Some days the river rewarded him with nets full of fish. Other days it offered only silence. Whatever the catch, Nabin never complained. "The river has its own wisdom," he often told his young daughter Mira. "It gives what it can, and we must receive it with gratitude." Though poor, their little home overflowed with laughter. Each evening, before eating, the family placed a small bowl of rice beside the riverbank as an offering of thanks. Many villagers laughed. Old Bishnu, who had fished these waters for 40 years, shook his head whenever he passed. "Why feed a river?" he scoffed. "The river feeds us. It owes us nothing." Nabin simply smiled. "Gratitude should never wait until we become wealthy." One year, the monsoon rains came harder than anyone remembered. The Ganges burst beyond its banks. Fields disappeared beneath muddy water. Boats were carried away. Ancient trees fell into the current. When the floods finally withdrew, the river no longer followed its familiar course. Even the oldest fishermen admitted they no longer recognized every channel. Life slowly returned. Then, one quiet dawn, Nabin cast his net into a deep pool, newly carved by the flood. When he pulled, the net refused to move. He strained with all his strength. Still nothing. "Have I caught the river itself?" he muttered. At last, the net came free. Inside lay no fish, only a crystal lotus. Its petals shimmered with pale blue light, though dawn had barely broken. The flower felt strangely warm in his hands, almost alive. The moment he placed it inside the boat, the river fell silent. Every ripple vanished. The current stopped flowing. Even the birds ceased their songs. Then the waters slowly parted. A broad stone pathway appeared beneath the river. Far below stood magnificent gates carved from green jade. Beyond them rose a palace unlike anything Nabin had imagined. Its towers shimmered with pearl. Its bridges glowed with polished shells. Schools of silver fish drifted peacefully through the water surrounding it. Nabin's breath caught. His feet refused to move. He stared at the impossible path. "If I step forward, will I ever return?" His fingers trembled as he reached toward the water. Instead of cold, it felt warm, like a gentle hand resting against his own. Then a calm voice echoed through the silent river. "Come without greed, leave without regret." Nabin thought of Mira waiting for him. He thought of his wife. He whispered a quiet prayer, then stepped forward. The waters closed gently above him, yet he breathed as easily as upon dry land. Inside the palace, fish swam through the air like birds. Lotus flowers floated in crystal pools. Pearls shone from every wall. The silence was not empty. It was full, like the held breath of the river itself. At the far end sat a graceful queen upon a throne shaped like an open blossom. Her robes flowed like living water. A silver crown rested upon her dark hair. "The River Queen," Nabin whispered. She smiled. "You have honored these waters for many years. You offered thanks when your nets were full. You offered thanks when they held nothing." She looked toward the crystal lotus. "The river remembers." Nabin bowed deeply. "I seek no reward. I only wish to care for my family." The queen nodded. "And that is why you have been welcomed." She raised one hand. Servants appeared carrying treasures beyond imagination. Golden chests, strings of pearls, rubies blazing like sunset. Silks softer than clouds. Then Nabin saw something that made his heart ache. A magnificent golden fishing net. Every knot gleamed like the first salmon of spring when the river runs silver. No rope could ever break. No fish could escape. His breath caught. With such a net, he would never return home empty-handed again. Mira would never know hunger. His wife would never mend torn clothes by candlelight. Almost without thinking, his hand reached toward it. His fingertips brushed the golden cords. Then he stopped. He slowly closed his hand and stepped away. "What lies over there?" he asked quietly. Behind a carved pillar stood a small earthen jar. Its rim was chipped. A crack ran down one side. It looked so ordinary that even the palace servants barely noticed it. The River Queen smiled. "The Water of Renewal. It restores rivers. It heals poisoned streams. It brings life wherever compassion guides it." She watched him carefully. "You may choose only one treasure." Nabin looked once more at the golden net, then toward the humble jar. He remembered dry summers, cracked fields, children carrying empty buckets, old Bishnu returning with empty boats. At last, he bowed. "If I may choose freely, I choose the jar." Silence filled the palace. Even the fish seemed to stop swimming. Then the River Queen laughed softly. "Many have entered these halls," she said. "You are the first to leave poorer than you entered, and richer than you know." She placed the jar gently into his hands. "When its waters are shared, they will never diminish. But remember, if anyone tries to sell this gift, it will become ordinary water. And if you ever stop sharing it, it will become nothing more than dust." The palace faded like morning mist. Nabin found himself once again inside his little fishing boat. The crystal lotus was gone. Only the cracked clay jar remained. When he returned to the village, everyone gathered around him. Old Bishnu burst into laughter. "So, you found a palace of wonders? And brought home a broken pot." Others laughed with him. Some pitied Nabin. Some shook their heads. But Nabin only smiled. The following summer became the driest anyone had ever known. Streams disappeared. Rice fields turned brown. The village well slowly emptied, its rope scraping against dry stone. One evening, Nabin carried the little jar to its cracked stones. He poured a single cup into the dry earth. Nothing happened. For a heartbeat, the villagers looked away in disappointment. Then, a sharp crack echoed through the stones. The smell of fresh rain rose from the ground. Cold water burst upward, clear, pure, laughing as it filled the well. Children shouted with joy. Women dropped their empty buckets and wept. Old Bishnu stood frozen. Without a word, he slowly knelt beside the well, touched the water, and bowed his head. The miracle spread far beyond the village. Travelers came carrying empty jars. Nabin welcomed them all. He never accepted payment, only one promise. When fortune returns to you, share it before keeping it. Years passed. The little fishing village became famous, not for hidden treasure, but for generous hearts. Whenever neighboring villages suffered drought, they sent water. When floods struck elsewhere, they sent food. No stranger ever left hungry. As for the humble clay jar, it never glittered, it never changed. Yet somehow, it never emptied. One quiet evening, as the sun disappeared behind the Ganges, Meera asked her father, "Do you ever wish you had chosen the gold instead?" Nabin smiled. For about the length of a single heartbeat, he watched children splashing happily beside the river. Then he looked toward the endless current. Gold can fill a chest, but water shared becomes a river, and a river never runs dry. The old storytellers of Bengal never claimed that hidden palaces reward every traveler. They believed something far more hopeful. The greatest blessings are often disguised as simple choices. When we seek only what enriches ourselves, our treasures soon fade. But when we choose what brings life to others, even the smallest gift can flow like a river that never runs dry. Thank you for listening to Simple Tales. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more timeless tales from around the world. Until next time, may your greatest treasures always be the ones you choose to share.